Good morning. So, I know that the video is coming a little late this week, and I may not do one every week, but I think they're nice, since we're not actually sitting in the room together. But I just wanted to let you guys know a few things. The first is that if you submitted your first draft, I've gone ahead and I've provided some feedback, and I want to tell you how that feedback is going to come. So the first part of the feedback is that you have um, an audio clip that is about a minute long. And I'm going to suggest that you listen to that audio clip before you look at my other feedback. And that will just let you get my voice in your head when you're reading what I have to say. Now, since we are working with our first draft of the expository paper this week, what I've done is I've read through your papers and then I've given everyone a short paragraph at the top of their paper of just general places where I think you could make improvements. And if you think back to Anne Lamott's Shitty First Drafts, you'll remember that she calls the first draft um, kind of the downdraft, where you're just trying to get all of your thoughts out on the page. And I think that is a good way to think about it. So the comments I've made are kind of big, overarching comments, just kind of what are the big moves that you should make. So don't expect to see any comments about grammar or punctuation or things like that. Those are really concerns for the second draft and the third draft. Now, talking about this, I also want to remind you that you're going to have a choice between revising the expository or the analytical paper, which I believe you're working on this week. Um, so, right now, what we're doing is we're setting those first first drafts on the windowsill, and we're letting them cool uh, like a pie. So for the moment, you don't need to worry about them, but just know that you have feedback, you have comments. And I think sometimes it's good to let papers sit for a while so that way we can come back to them with new eyes, with a fresh way of looking at things. Um, and just kind of a one last point. When it comes to titles and introductions, um, it's perfectly fine to use questions. But just as a reader, sometimes questions make me wonder if the author actually knows what they're talking about. And all of you know what you're talking about. But just kind of like sometimes I think it's really beneficial to think about um, turning those questions into statements, which just makes the paper stronger. Oh, and one last thing, which is in this paper, you don't necessarily need to use sources, but if you are using sources, it's very crucial that you cite. Um, and that is also just something to keep in mind. Whether it's words or ideas, you always need to cite. And I lied because I have one more quick comment that I overlooked in my notes. So one other thing that you'll notice when I comment on your papers is that I'll make references. So I'll say like C3A or C4 or A2. And those are references to a writer's reference. And I know that you're reading those, but I'm pointing to those sections in the book because I think that they will help you in the revision process. Um, and there's something where I would suggest just sometime before you revise, um, you look at those sections and you think about what it has to say. But like I said, right now we're setting those first pies, those first drafts on the windowsill. We're letting them cool. We're starting work on something else. So uh, I hope you guys are doing well. Um, I was really happy to see all the work. I'm just going to say that as a note. And I hope you guys have a relaxing yet productive weekend. Okay, bye guys.